What's up, everybody? It's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video, we're going to talk to you a little bit about forward lean on your snowboard bindings. What does it do, and when should you play with it? Let's check this out. So forward lean is something that most bindings have. Not all bindings, but most of the bindings on the market have somewhat of an adjustment for your forward lean. Some of them, it's a flip lock on the back, a thing that you spin. Sometimes you need a tool, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you actually will adjust some screws on the inside of the heel loop here. But basically what it's doing is it's adjusting the angle at which the high back sits before it actually hits this heel loop. So snowboard high back, it's there to give you leverage on your heel side edge. If you've ever noticed that you can stand on your toes and you can stay there all day long, we can bend over, stand up, no problem. Basically, you can stay on your toes with very, very minimal complications. And that's because when you do bend over on your toes and you scrunch down and you crouch down, your weight stays centered over your toes. Have you ever tried standing on your heels before? Go ahead, try it. It's not as easy. It's super, super hard. And that's because when we go back on our heels, now all of a sudden our body doesn't bend in a way that we can keep our weight centered. The minute we lean back on our heels, to keep your weight centered, you almost have to take your head and go uncomfortably far forward. So basically with the high back, what you're doing is you're actually leaning back on the high back. The high back is pushing down on the heel loop, and that's helping to lift up the toe edge of your board and give you extra leverage to push your heel side edge into the snow, because it's something that's already crazy, crazy hard to do. Now the forward lean, it's there for people that want maybe a little bit more aggressive feel. So your high back, if you look at them, most high backs are already leaning forward a little bit. Now the reason for this is that if you look at any snowboard boot, you'll notice that a snowboard boot has forward lean built into it. And this is basically so the forward lean on your high back can kind of match with the boot. Usually the boot's gonna have just a little bit more. Now the reason the boots have forward lean is because when you're snowboarding, you need to have your knees bent all the time. If you try to stand up straight and straighten up your ankles on a snowboard, it's not gonna benefit you at all, and you're gonna have a lot of problems. So knowing this, the boot companies put that forward lean into the boot, so when you're standing there, you're in a comfortable position. If you think about this, if you actually built this boot straight up and down, and you're standing with your knees bent all the time and your ankles bent all the time, now you're actually fighting this boot into a position. You don't want to do that. If you're going to be in this position most of the time, you want the boot to be there, and it's going to reduce ankle fatigue in the long run. That's why these boots all have got that forward lean built into the boot. They're not built for walking, they're built for snowboarding. Now, with the high back, we obviously can match that a little bit, but we can actually go beyond that. So when you actually put your boot into your binding, and especially when it's mounted on the snowboard, now when you're going from your heel side edge to your toe side edge, there's no problems there. That's very, very easy. You're taking all your weight and you're leaning, boom, right on your toes, and you're cranking those turns. Now, with a snowboard boot, depending on the flex, obviously the softer the boot, the easier it's gonna do this. The stiffer the boot, the harder it's gonna be. But your strap only goes to right here. When we lean on our toe side edge, now the boot's actually gonna flex away from the high back a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually supposed to do that. Now, when you go from your toe side edge back to your heel side edge, the boot is going to flex backward until it hits the high back. And then when it hits the high back, that's when it's gonna push the pressure down and it's gonna get onto that heel side edge. Now, forward lean, it's basically there to increase that angle to make it quicker. Obviously, if we have this thing set at pretty much, most companies call it 0, but that's gonna be just a little bit of forward lean, that boot is gonna flex forward and it's gonna hit the high back here. Now, if we actually increase that forward lean, and let's just go all the way up, just to make it crazy, crazy forward so you can see a huge difference. Now, when we pop that boot in there and we flex it forward, now that boot's gonna flex forward a little bit, but you can see that it's not gonna flex that far. It's actually gonna be much, much closer to the high back. So when you go from your toe side edge to your heel side edge, it's gonna hit the high back here, not here. So you're gonna go from toe edge to heel edge much, much quicker. People that free ride and ride very aggressively, a lot of pipe riders, they love forward lean because it gets them from toe side to heel edge right now. And you think about a half pipe, if you've been in one of those half pipes, yeah, they're big, they're huge. But when you're coming down a 22-foot wall and you need to get from your toe side edge to your heel side edge as quick as possible, you're gonna want that forward lean to be really, really big so you can get there right away. Now, if you're riding park and you're just out kind of cruising around nice and easy and you want that easy feel, you're usually not gonna want a lot of forward lean. You're gonna wanna keep that thing as straight up, as close to straight up and down as you can. So again, you get that nice, easy feel. And when you go from toe edge to heel edge, it's gonna take a minute. Nice, easy feel. Now, the biggest question that we get is, how much forward lean should I have? And honestly, there's no right or wrong answer. You really just gotta mess around with it. Everybody has a certain riding style and a way that they like their board and their bindings to feel. And you might have a little bit stiffer boot that's gonna react quicker, and you might not need a little bit more forward lean. Maybe you have a softer boot, but you want that quick feel. Well, you can actually adjust that with more forward lean. What I always tell people is go out, leave your bindings straight up and down, and ride. See how it feels. Do some toe edge to heel edge carves and really notice how quickly your board goes from toe edge to heel edge. Now again, with a lot of the bindings nowadays, they have quick adjustment pieces and you can literally take it and go boom, adjust it up, and don't go like 2 notches, go 4 or 5 notches. Go up really big so you notice a big difference. Set that back, ratchet yourself in, go take a run, and know that it's gonna be a lot quicker from edge to edge, and you're gonna have to stand a little bit more aggressively too. Just keep that in your mind, but just try it out. And then kind of adjust it from there. You really gotta take a few runs, maybe even a couple days of riding to really find where you like your high back to be. The other thing about it too is you might say, hey, we're going out for park laps. You might actually adjust your high back for that. And then, hey, the park, you know, it's getting a little rutted. We just want to go out and do some free riding, go fast, or hey, we're going to do a pipe sesh. Well, the nice thing is you can crank it down and you might actually ride different forward leans for different occasions and different styles of riding. And that's why these companies do a lot of these quick release mechanisms so you can adjust it easy, adjust it on the fly, and adjust it without tools. If your snowboard binding doesn't have a quick adjustment or doesn't seem to have any adjustment for the high back, it's probably meant for a very specific style of riding where you're not gonna be very aggressive. It's meant for that little bit easier, smoother style of ride no matter what you're doing. But again, when it really comes down to it, it's just personal preference. You really just gotta play with it, mess around with it, try it in different conditions, and just again, experiment and find out what works best for you. But if you have any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We wanna make sure we can get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we wanna make sure that it's gonna fit you and you can adjust it to fit your riding style. Also make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a set of bindings, play around with that forward lean, and get out and ride. 'Cause any day of riding is a good day of riding.